What is up, guys? It is the Bluebloods here coming back at y'all with another 2 minute drill episode, Thursday, May 20th. And before we even get started, man, if you're watching this dropped at 7 a.m. like usual. Our interview with Akil Glass drops at 9. So even if you're watching this late afternoon, that means the Akil Glass interview is out. Make sure to go check that out. I promise you aren't going to want to miss that one. We apologize for some audio. We had some connection issues. We tried to sort through. We did our best editing. Everything is pretty clear. That we just had some background noise we couldn't get rid of, just in terms of connection. You all know how it is in this Zoom type world where we can't do in-person interviews, which sucks, but it was an awesome interview. Shout out to Akil for joining us, man. We've been talking. This ain't going to be the last time y'all see him here on the Blue Blood, so make sure to check that out. Make sure to give that kid all the support in the world because he deserves it. One of the best players in the country, not just the FCS and SWAC, one of the best players in the country. So, make sure to go check that out. But guys, let's get right into it, man. We got a little bit of personal news from our Auburn Tigers, and then we got to go out to the Big 12, where there was a huge report today coming out in terms of one of the head coaches turning down a gigantic offer from an NFL team. And, we got to get into that. Got to fix my camera here real quick, but let's get into our first storyline, man. The Auburn Tigers have been one of the most active teams in the transfer portal, guys. And it's not really surprising because of the recent coaching change that they went through, but players don't fit the scheme. Players want more playing time. Other players see an opportunity, and the connections that we see coaches have at other schools. Well, so far we've seen the Tigers land Darius Knighton, Tony Fair, defensive tackle, DB Drayshawn Miller out of West Virginia, and defensive lineman Andrew Leota out of Northwestern already in this recruiting cycle. Well, now they land Donovan Kaufman out of Vanderbilt. He's a former 3-star safety, and he transferred out of Vanderbilt last month, and he was deciding between the Auburn Tigers and the Texas Longhorns. And this kid was, like I said, was a 3-star safety out of Metairie, Louisiana, which is, a suburb right outside of New Orleans. So he's a Southern kid that went to Vandy. Well, he transferred out due to a big coaching change. You saw Derek Mason, his primary recruiter, shipped out. Well, now he's a defensive coordinator at Auburn, so that relationship is there, which kind of explains how Kaufman is going to wind up on the Plains. He was a top 500 recruit, guys, a top 20 player in a loaded state of Louisiana. In his senior year, over 112 tackles, 9 for loss, 2 sacks, 3 pass breakups, 6 forced fumbles, 4 picks, and 2 INT returns for touchdowns. This kid was an all-district player in the state of Louisiana, was the 5A player of the year his senior year, and he won the MVP for the state title game as a defensive back. That just shows you how talented this kid is. And you might be like, why are you giving me his high school stats? Isn't this a transfer? Well, this kid transferred after his first year at Vanderbilt. He was a true freshman this year, and he comes to Auburn with another 4 years of eligibility. And his eligibility, I guess, to play this year really depends, kind of like what we talked about with TJ Finley, whether the SEC knocks down that interconference transfer rule, which they're expected to do. So we're just going to assume right now that he's going to be able to play this upcoming year. Kaufman plays safety and nickel for the Commodores this season. He did miss, he played 2 games, started both those games, but he missed the end of the season due to a string of injuries. But he really shined in his limited action as a true freshman. His first game out on the road, Texas A&M, in a close game. It was only a 5-point win for Texas A&M over Vandy. Had a 10-tackle performance and then graded out at over an 85 against LSU in terms of the run game and tackling by Pro Football Focus. His big positives for me, man, he excels in ball pursuit. It really exceeds at tackling, and just his overall playmaking ability really stands out for me. He's a hard-hitting downhill safety, and all these things are what Auburn needs going into the season at the safety spot. And I want to get to Auburn because in terms of every transfer, before you grade them, you really have to go through of why they were a fit, why they were a need for a program. The hole at safety was just too big to ignore for the Auburn Tigers on the defensive side of the ball. I, there was a need for a playmaker. There was a need for experience. There's just a need for bodies on the back end of that defense. Jamie and Sherwood headed to the NFL draft. Jordan Peters graduated, decided not to come back. Chris Thompson Jr. just transferred to USC like a week ago, and it left Auburn with absolutely zero experience next to Smoke Monday at the safety spot. Christian Tutt is also out too. I forgot to mention him. He was kind of their nickel guy. Smoke Monday is the only player at Auburn that has experience starting in the SEC. Kaufman has only started 2 games, guys. This is going to kind of put it in perspective for y'all. He's only started 2 games, but that is more than every other safety on Auburn's roster other than Smoke Monday. So absolutely no experience at one of the most important positions in the SEC, especially as we see this passing revolution, this offensive revolution, to just more of like almost an air raid spread attack that we're seeing that Alabama, Ole Miss, and these teams are really pushing. I really expect Kaufman. They moved Ladarius Tennyson to that nickel safety spot in spring, so I really expect Ladarius Tennyson to fight Kaufman for that spot. But I think Kaufman, with his experience and familiarity with the system, his relationship with Mason, and just his overall talent, I expect Kaufman to most likely start at that second safety, that nickel spot for the Auburn Tigers. And really and truly, it's going to be interesting because I think he had, I believe, a kick return against LSU. I mean, he's a big factor in the return game just because of his speed, his size, his just explosiveness. Him and Tank Bigsby could form one of the most deadly kick return duos in the entire country. So I think he brings even a special teams component, even if he doesn't, see the field in terms of a starter. He's going to see the field though. He's going to be at least a factor. I think you're going to see Mason rotate a lot of guys, especially his first year on the defensive line in that secondary. The linebacking core is pretty set. When you have, Owen Papo and Zacoby McClain and all them guys, I don't think I honestly don't see how you keep them off the field. So those guys are probably set. But for me, if I had to grade this for Auburn, I would probably give it a B. So so I saved my A and A pluses for just program changers. So that's like a 5-star kid transfers, and he is exactly what this team needs, and he is going to change the face of a program. Save my B pluses for guys who are on that fringe and are probably going to be superstars. I'm going to give this a B or B minus for Auburn just because it fills a need. They've definitely needed it, and Kaufman's going to play and start and be a great player for the Auburn Tigers. But he's not going to be that program changer. He's going to plug a hole, but he's not going to be like the end-all, be-all in that secondary. So for me, I'm going to give it a B minus for Auburn here, landing this kid. He's very talented. I'm excited to see what he does. Still young. To get a transfer with 4 years of eligibility is amazing. It's pretty much just signing a kid right out of high school. You just pretty much got another high school kid, but he has SEC starting experience. So that's huge for the Auburn Tigers. But now it's time to shift, guys, out there to the Big 12. And Matt Campbell, Iowa State, one of my favorite programs, super high on this program, super high on this coach. Dennis Dobb, CBS Sports reporter, dropped a bombshell and reported that the Detroit Lions offered Iowa State head coach Matt Campbell an 8-year, $68.5 million contract to become their head coach after firing Matt Patricia. Of course, they went on and hired Dan Campbell. So apparently they stuck with the Campbells, but Matt Campbell apparently turned this offer down. Now, a few things to note here. Campbell signed an extension of 3 years, which came with like a perk where Iowa State was offering a $3 million stipulation for staff salary enhancements, which is a huge thing that coaches are negotiating now, where they can go out and pay big-time staff to come in and help them build a program. He makes about $4 million a year right now through 2028 for the Cyclones. That was the extension he signed. And his first year at Iowa State, he turned a 3-9 program into this past year, a 9-3 program that won a New Year's Six Bowl, made an appearance in the Big 12 championship game, and won the regular season title, and ultimately fell to Oklahoma in the Big 12 title game. And this team was, I believe, preseason ranked 6th in the first like ESPN poll or whatever they released, like the FPI poll or something like that. They were 6th, so they're a huge favorite this year in terms of competing for a playoff spot, and in terms of being probably arguably the second best team in the Big 12. Maybe just a step behind Oklahoma, because I've said on this podcast, Oklahoma might be the best team in the country this year, and they probably have the best team they've had in a very long time, including that national championship team, their last national championship team back in the day. For me, though, this doesn't seem like a surprise. So, like, we covered it because it was a storyline in terms of what's going on in college football right now, but a lot of people were shocked. They're like, why would you turn down the Lions to stay at Iowa State? Well, as a college football guy, it kind of took me aback. And I was thinking, I was like, if you say that, it makes me kind of question how much you know about college football, because, he got $68.5 million over 8 years, but he's making like $4 million a year right now, along with a few mil for salary staff enhancements, and he's at Iowa State, and they're doing real well right now, and they're one of the best teams in the country. Is it? I'm just, to be honest, I want y'all to comment and tell me if I'm tripping or if I'm missing the mark on this. This is going to sound crazy, but for me, Iowa State right now might be a better job than the Detroit Lions. I'm just going to let that sit in. I'm making myself laugh here. But, I mean, honestly, listen, okay, so if you disagree with me, comment below. Other than that they're in the NFL, why is the Detroit Lions a better job right now than Iowa State? So I'm just thinking off the top of my head right now. I don't even have like notes in front of me, anything right now. The Detroit Lions are the worst team in their division right now. In your division right now, you have Aaron Rodgers and the Packers with Devontae Adams, Aaron Jones, and they just made an they've made back-to-back NFC championship appearances. And if Aaron Rodgers stays, I'm not going to get into all the drama. They're going to be one of the best teams in the NFL. Then second, now you got to deal with Justin Fields. They brought Justin Fields in. That Bears roster was a playoff team like 2 years ago. And now they get arguably, I think, probably the second or third best quarterback in the draft, and have a real shot to do something real special with Justin Fields in the coming years. And then on top of that, you deal with Kirk Cousins, however you feel about him, and Dalvin Cook, and that pretty damn good defense they got out there in Minnesota, who has been a playoff team for more years than not recently. It got offer you that? You gonna take me up on that offer? You're gonna do that when you could stay at Iowa State, making relatively the same amount. I mean, and I like what Brent Venables said when people ask him why he's denying head coaching jobs. You can only have so much money. Listen, I mean, I get it if you're talking about a millionaire to a billionaire, all that, but that's not what we're talking. How much more is $3 million? $3 million a year or something like that. There's not much more you could do with if you're already a millionaire. I just gave you another $1 million. I mean, personally, and when I look at the expectations that I would say and the expectations at the Lions, you already have Iowa State is going to, if you keep going down the road you're going to go down as one of the better coaches in their history right now. There's no more expectations. You've met everyone's expectations. You're going to compete for the Big 12 title this year, probably going to go to the championship game again. And if you could pull off the upset, you could be Big 12 champions, and Iowa State might rename the stadium after you. You have the best running back in the country coming back this year, and Breece Hall. You also have Brock Purdy coming back. You're almost like you have like 21 of the 22 starters pretty much coming back on your team. You have all this going for you, and you're going to leave for the Lions. I just need y'all. Listen, what do the Lions have going for it? Jared Goff interest you? DeAndre Swift interest you? The wide receiving core, where half of y'all probably can't even name a wide receiver, interest you? The no-name defense with no superstars because Jeff Okudah hasn't worked out. Any of that interest you? I didn't think so. And I mean, to be honest, there's no positives. There's no like other than going up to the NFL, which does not always work for college coaches. What did Matt Campbell really have to gain other than more pressure and more expectations going to the next level? Stick it out at Iowa State. Win your 9-10 games a year and you become a legend rather than go to the Lions and be the bottom dweller of that division and get fired in 3 years, just like the rest of the NFL coaches are recycled. I don't get how so many people are saying that is crazy. He turned down the Lions for Iowa State because, in my opinion, the Iowa State job, outside of being NFL versus college, might be a better job. So let me know what y'all think. Comment below if Matt Campbell is crazy for turning that down and whether you think the Lions are a better job than Iowa State, which I do not think it is. And also, what do you think about the Donovan Kaufman transfer to Auburn? How's he going to fit? How big of a pickup is it for Auburn? Comment below and let me know. Guys, click off this video and go check out our interview with Akil Glass. We appreciate all the support, man. And, as always, the 2-minute drill, Monday through Friday, right here on YouTube. We're coming back at y'all tomorrow with another Pac-12 in 31 days. We got our guy Doug Haller coming at us from Arizona State, covering all things Arizona State football tomorrow. We got a bunch of episodes coming next week, so make sure to subscribe now and tune in to all the awesome all-season content from the Bluebloods. We are dropping this all season. And guys, make sure to subscribe, turn on your post notification. If you do that, you enter yourself in a giveaway. Our next merch giveaway is at 200 subscribers. So subscribe now to enter that. Our first winners are about to get their merch now. So make sure to do it and do not miss out on this exclusive merch that everyone is getting in on now. But guys, for myself, the 2-minute drill, and the Bluebloods, I am out.